Greetings, listeners, and a merry salutation to you. I am your host, Kelli Bertinelli, and on today's edition of Phantastical Careers, I'm interviewing matchmaker Wendy Sinclaire of Fairytale Finders. Wendy, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. I really enjoy getting to talk about my work.
Matchmakers have been a key feature of cultures on Earth and beyond, so I'm sure many of my listeners are familiar with the concept, but I frankly have never even thought of how a matchmaker gets into the business. So how do you consider it? If you're interested in the vocation, is there a program you go through or a certification? What's the educational approach to matchmaking?
Um, well, I think some of us just have the gift. A few of my colleagues did go to university and got degrees in romantic psychology or general marriage studies, but most of us are just born with the ability to see who will fall in love if given the chance.
You say the ability to see who will fall in love. Could you elucidate a little bit about what that exactly means for our
hmm
listeners?
So it's different for everyone in my field. When I meet an individual, this may sound a little crazy, but I can hear a melody humming in the distance. It's like their soul is singing, and some people have rich, deep tones, like a French horn. Other people sound like a smooth violin or a harmonica or a harp. As I spend time with people, their song plays more and more clearly in my head, and my job is to find them someone with a song that will harmonize. That's when I know a couple has a chance together. When I hear their two songs playing together, some people you just know right off the bat are not going to fall in love. For example, you're never going to catch a bassoon and a piccolo together, or a violin and a triangle.
If I heard music in my head, I would probably think I was losing my senses. But now I know that that is a legitimate skill that one needs to hone
Right.
to potentially be a matchmaker. So, young listeners, if you hear music in your head, I suppose this is an option. And stories like this do remind me how differently we are all gifted. Because I know that some dwarves can smell color, and the fawns of Thin Harrow supposedly can hear the frequency of delicious roots and apple trees from miles away. So, so I guess hearing music isn't that different. My species doesn't have any of those types of skills, but they definitely all make life more exciting. One critical area those investigating a career path often ask is, what is the workplace environment like? Do you have any coworkers or is it just you?
Oh, I employ a full staff. Let me see. I have a secretary, pigeon postman, two translators, a cultural consultant, payroll, human and non human resources. So there's at least 10 in the office. I'm in the field primarily, though. I have at least 3 in person meetings with the client before suggesting some men or women of their dreams.
And so you're in the field. I'm assuming you're interviewing them in their natural
Mm-hmm.
surroundings to get to know them a little better. Is that what you mean by being in the field?
Yes, yes. When they're in the natural environment, you can see who they really are. They're not putting on any type of fake identity to try to deceive you or anything. They don't know that they're being evaluated, and you can just see them as they naturally go throughout their day.
Ah, so so you're in the field a lot, but um, I guess what are your normal work hours in a given week? Is it like a 9 to 5, or how does that lay out?
So the standard work week is Tuesday to Friday. I do work from the office some, but mostly, like we talked about, out in the client's natural environment. And weekends are usually covered by fairy godmothers.
If you're looking to hire someone, what type of personalities tend to thrive as matchmakers? Are there traits you look for? Talk me through the hiring process.
So, this job is almost entirely reliant on people skills. If you can't discern between a money grabbing princess and a kind hearted peasant girl, then you really shouldn't be in the business of selecting Prince Charming's mate. Speaking of which, you need a lot of tact to work with royalty. I generally require all my clients to prove their character and integrity by going on a quest of sufficient peril and moral magnitude before I match them. And also, I think it's important that people want a new career if they choose matchmaking, not just a new job. This is a long term commitment to helping others find a mate. Not everyone is straightforward. I've had a client for several years who only just got engaged this past March. Handling people's feelings is a delicate operation. Plus, it's critical that one's clients trust you. Building rapport can take time, but it's critical to our success.
Do you ever have clients who are resistant to your
Oh,
methods?
certainly.
Or, I guess I should say, do they all know that you are working on finding a mate for them? Or could a mother hire you to matchmake her son without his knowledge?
Oh, certainly. As a matter of fact, many of my success stories aren't even aware that they are my clients. Those are the really stubborn, hard headed ones. You get a call from parents saying, "Please come marry off my son." And so you have to lay out a plan of attack to get to know him and introduce him to a potential mate in a way that makes him think he was the one who found his future wife. It takes a lot of research, fieldwork, and late nights, but it's worth it in the end. Plus, the parents pay double my fee for those difficult cases.
According to the brochure, you are the sole owner of Fairytale Finders. Why did you find it necessary to start your own business instead of joining a larger firm?
Well, I didn't actually found Fairytale Finders. We were established in 1507 by Melinda Carter. She was a world renowned matchmaker, responsible for a record breaking 6 royal matches during her career. When she died, she passed on the company to an upcoming matchmaker, who passed it on, and she passed it on, and etc. I am the 62nd owner. But to go back to your question, there really aren't any firms or conglomerates of matchmakers. We are almost entirely sole proprietors. It's just the way that our job works. So, if you're interested in being a matchmaker, 99% of the time, you must also be willing to run a small business.
We are about out of time. Thank you, Wendy, for joining us today and sharing with us all about your fantastical career.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. I really enjoyed getting to speak with you.
When this show first started, my intention was to help listeners survey new professions, and this episode is a great installment of that goal. If you have any additional questions about the time-honored position of matchmaking, I suggest reaching out to Wendy at Fairytale Finders directly, as I know she'd be happy to share additional information about her field. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Fantastical Careers with Kelli Bertinelli.